Welcome back, and with me now is the Commissioner of Resilience in New South Wales, Shane Fitzsimmons. Shane, good to talk with you. We never talk with you unless it's a disaster, but goodness, there have been fires, there have been floods and COVID and now record floods. How much more resilient do we need to be?
It's tragic really what's unfolding, and you're right. Go back just a little bit further and we had 100% of the state drought affected, drought declared. That was a precursor to the worst ever bushfires. The COVID, the storms and floods that came in February last year, COVID all through 2020, these extraordinary weather events, rainfall events and flooding, it's compounding the impacts and the effects on these communities. The 34 local government areas that we've made natural disaster declarations for directly linked with this flood event, the vast majority of them were also made natural disaster areas for the bushfires. So the compounding event is enormous at every level.
Okay, I know that you're ready to go, because, which is extraordinary, because we're still flooding.
Absolutely.
But you're about to go in to begin the recovery effort, aren't you?
Absolutely. So working very close partnership with Carleen and the SES and the whole lead agency for the response effort, our senior police, our state emergency controller and all the emergency management agencies, we've been planning and working closely to look at the weather, look at when the weather's going to dissipate. We've got lined up already hundreds of fire trucks, 500 to 1,000 firefighters that'll be descending into places like the mid-north coast, the Hunter Valley, the Hawkesbury-Nepean Valley system.
When?
We're starting on ground on Thursday.
Right.
So the rain will clear tomorrow, the sun will be out, but that doesn't mean the water's going away. It's going to take a while for a lot of this water to recede, but we're going to be walking in with people to their homes, to their businesses, to their properties, and we're going to be there to help them wash out and clean up, and it's going to be an awfully dirty, grubby, emotional, contaminated place, but the work's got to be done.
I think, after bushfires burn everything out and it's relatively clean. It's overwhelming and it's terrible. Floods aren't the same.
No, they're not. And without being insensitive to all the bushfire victims,
no, of course.
When a house burns out, there's not a lot left. So cleaning up the debris is difficult, but it's not bulky as this is. But with the flood, you think about the furniture, the white goods, or the carpets, the flooring, the linings of the walls. It's all got to be stripped out, and that's massive bulk waste. So we've got not only the 500 to 1,000 firefighters, but we're going to have the same sort of number in the Defence Force that are going to come in. We're going to have heavy machinery. We've got contractors in place. We're going to have streets full of skip bins. We're going to have bulk waste removal exercises that are going to go on and help people. But our people on the ground, the men and women, Army and firefighters, they're going to be going into people's homes. They're going to help them lift out the lounges, the furniture, the bedding, all that sort of stuff. We need to give them all the help we can. That's
short-term and very critical help. Longer term, where are people going to live? Because they're not going to, their houses have gone.
That's right. We've had a few thousand people come through and register in evacuation centres. The vast majority of displaced people have gone to family and friends, which is the goal. We're already working on temporary accommodation. We've got partnerships going into place with insurance organisations. But it's really tough, Tracy, because a lot of the accommodation was being taken up with displaced bushfire victims, and we've also been trying to promote get in and visit regional New South Wales for COVID. So a lot of the other accommodation is being quite rightly booked up. So we are very conscious about working through this. We've got all sorts of supports in place. We're working closely with insurance companies. So not only are you going to have the firefighters and the Army and everything going in on Thursday, we're going to have insurance assessors, we're going to have public works people. There's going to be a lot of support on the ground, housing and welfare support. So it is going to be tough to find accommodation and support for people. It's a mammoth task.
Insurance companies are fairly notorious after floods for arguing the toss with people about whether the water has risen up or fallen down, and they won't get coverage. Where do people go for help if they can't get accommodation, if they can't get insurance coverage? Can you help them?
So there's a range of supports that are in place, particularly for our most vulnerable in the community, those that don't have insurance, those that don't have the wherewithal to rebuild or replace damaged or misplaced items. So we do have mechanisms in place. We've got a 137788 number, so all the immediate short-term supports that are available now, get onto that number, go onto newsouthwales.gov website. There'll be information there already available, but we're already in concert with the federal government, the Commonwealth. We're framing up support packages, which will probably be very similar to what we've seen through the bushfires and other big events across Australia in the last 18 months to 2 years. So there's an immediate level of support. There's going to be short-term and medium, but we're also very conscious about the long-term recovery. These floods might have only been a few days, maybe a week or so, but we know the recovery is going to go for many months, many years, particularly on top of all the work that's been done with the bushfires. And just think, thousands of kilometres of fencing through the bushfires has now all been washed away with the floods. It's heartbreaking.
It's overwhelming. Shane, thank you. Good
You're
to
welcome.
talk with
Thanks,
you.
Tracy.
When we come back, how you can help families impacted by the floods. Before we go, another reminder, if you need assistance, there is help available. In an emergency, phone your local SES unit on 132 500. In life-threatening situations, call 000 immediately. Also, St Vincent de Paul Society has launched a flood appeal to help those affected in New South Wales. Donations can be made by calling 131812. The Red Cross is providing support. That number's on your screen now.